it's me, Chris Colley. Let's see if I can straighten you out a little bit there. I am in the rubber room, and it's Wednesday, November 12th, I believe, at lunchtime. I'm going to try and get back in the habit of doing my live at lunchtime cards. And so this month I'm going to be sharing with you what we did for our Fun Fold class this month. I have a Fun Fold Frenzy class every month, and we take one Fun Fold and we make 3 different cards with it. They have 3 different themes, and we try to focus on different products with each card. So this time, I'm fighting off a little bit of a cold here this morning, so it's a little foggy. I'm a little out of breath, but we're going to get through this. So this is called a Flip Flap card, and this is the first one we'll do, and this one was made with Memories and More cards. So this particular pack of Memories and More cards is called the Joyful Days Memories and More card pack. And these cards come in 2 sizes. So one is 3x4 and the big one is 4x6. And you get 6 of each pattern, and they are printed on both sides. So you have some great sentiments. You can just add your Merry Christmas on here, Christmas cheer, and then they have just background colors. So you could kind of mount that on there if you wanted to. And then they also have the big ones that are 4x6. And they're the same way. There's 6 of each of them. They have words or sentiments on one side. And then you can use the other side for scrapbooking. This one would be a good one to just kind of layer right on there. Or you could use the other side. You could even layer this over here if you wanted to. Very pretty. And they coordinate with each other. Like I said, there's 6 of each of the cards. This one, you truly just need a background for it, or a card base for it. You can trim them down, which is what I did for the Flip Flap card that we did. So I took the 4x6. Let's get our goodies out here. I took the 4x6 piece, and I cut off ¾ of an inch at the top. So I took the 6-inch side and cut it at 5 1/4. So you then have like ¾ of an inch, like you could use on the inside of your card if you wanted to. I cut it at 2 3/4 and 1 1/4 to make my 4. And then this is the 3x4 card. And I have a little die cut here. And I'm actually going to stamp on my die cut. And I'm going to use the sentiment, Oh Christmas Tree, which is in the Ornamental Christmas stamp set. And if you don't have that one, it it's in the Pine Tree Trimmings stamp set. So you have all these different stamps in there. You have the tree and the ornaments to put on the tree, the little star for the top of it. I love stamp sets that have sentiments and images with them. And Oh Christmas Tree just seems to be a little fitting for this card. So I'm going to center that right in the middle of my die cut. And this, to make our Flip Flap, what we did was I took a piece of cardstock that was 5.5 by 8.5. So that's your regular cardstock size for a card base. I scored it at 4 1/4, and then I scored it again at 1 1/4. And 1 1/4 is kind of like the key that you're going to have to do. So I scored it, and then I took this part and scored it again at 1 1/4. So these little pieces that are cut out are scored at 1 1/4. Let me just see if I have one that I didn't cut already, so you can see better what I mean. Okay, I do. So I have scored it at 4 1/4. And I'll just bring my little trusty bone folder in here. I leave my bone folders everywhere. So I have to have like 900 of them. So this is my 4 1/4 score, and then this is my 1 1/4. So I'm just gonna fold that back. And then I have also scored at 1 1/4 inches here and here. So it's scored 1 1/4 up to my score line. And those are the pieces that I'm gonna cut out. And they'll make a nice little flip-flap base. And you can, depending on what shape you're going to be using for your focal point, you can make this wider or shorter in here. And we're just going to cut those pieces out. And then I'm going to here's what kind of day it's going to be, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's see if I have one in here that actually has some adhesive in it. And voila, I do. Okay. So I'm going to take my 2 3/4 by 5 1/4 piece from my Memories and More kit. And I'm just going to add some adhesive. When you're working with your adhesive, if you hold it straight up, you're going to get the best results with it. And I am going to leave this so I make sure that my pieces line up, because I like that kind of smooth transition from piece to piece. So, and then this piece is going to fold back. I have a piece of 2 3/4 by 5 1/4 basic white cardstock. I'm going to put that on the inside of my card. I have a friend who is part of our team that taught me that every card has to have a white inside piece to it. So I try and do that all the time. And then this is our 1 3/4 by 5 1/4 piece. And I'm just going to put that right up. It's just going to overlap just a tiny bit. So that's going to be the inside of our card. I'm going to take my 3 by 4 piece. I'm going to mount it on a piece of real red cardstock that is 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. And when you're putting your flip-flap card together, what you want to do is be sure that you don't adhere both sides. If you put tape over here, then you're going to end up closing your card, and you want to be able to open it, and we want it to flip. This is our flap, and we want it to flip. That's the flip-flap part of the fold. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the adhesive right here on my little flap, and that way I am not the least bit tempted to put it all over my 4 1/4 by 3 1/4 piece. So I have my adhesive there, and I'm just going to put this right on top, like that, and center it. And then, because I don't like this part here on the back where you can see where your flip flap, I don't like that. So I cut another piece of paper, and this one is actually 2 3/8 by 4 1/4. So it's 2 3/8 by 4 1/4. And I'm just going to put that right on top of my other real red piece, so that it covers up that flap. So now I have kind of a really smooth, more finished look. Okay? And then I have some little sequins. I have this bow. We have some Old Olive and Early Espresso twine. It's a twin pack. And it actually is for the fall, but the Old Olive is just perfect, I think, with this card. So I'm just going to put a little adhesive on the back of my sentiment, I'm going to lay my bow in there. If you prefer to crisscross this, you certainly can do that. I'm just going to lay my bow in there. And then I am going to take my dimensionals, and I'm going to pop this up on dimensionals, and I don't want to put too many over there because I don't want it to close my card. So I'm just going to put some dimensionals right around my knot there and on the end. There we go. I love these dimensionals. We have foam in lots of different thicknesses. We have dimensionals, we have foam sheets, we have foam strips, lots of different ways to add dimension. So I'm just going to kind of put that right down there, just like that. And then I'm going to take my little sequins. This comes in a pack that has some blue, some gold, some red, and some green. And I kind of just liked the gold the best with it. So there we go. Quick and easy, and it looks like you spent a lot of time on it. These Memories and More cards are just, they make creating very quick, and it looks beautiful. So if you don't have those Memories and More cards, you need to get them because they are, I'm going to use some, I stocked up, I'm going to use some for my Christmas cards because they're, like I say, super easy and quick, and it really looks gorgeous. My other choice for this one was this ribbon, which is that iridescent ribbon, which would have been really pretty in there too. So you don't have to stick to just twine. You can use some ribbon in there. Lots of different accessories that you probably already have can be used for that. So that's our first flip flap. And for our second one, we used, let's see here. I always forget the name of my designer series paper. So this is a pack of specialty paper, and it is called the Wildflower Birthday 12 by 12 specialty. So you have lots of different patterns in it, but one of the things that they have now is our specialty paper. This one has some gold accents in the pages, but it also has a sticker page, and they're not stickers, it's like a punch-out page. So you have all these kind of really cute punch-outs, and I punch mine out and just put them in a bag or a case in the inside. So you can see you have different flowers. Those would be just gorgeous. There's some balloons, there's a cake. This cake would be really pretty, like for an anniversary card. Here's a little banner that's done in the gold. So lots of little punch outs and accessories. And again, this makes stamping really quick, really easy. You don't have to color those images. If you like coloring, it does have a coordinating stamp set where you can stamp your images and then color them. So it has kind of something for everyone in it. And this one is going to be a birthday card. So let's get our pieces out. This one I die cut from the Spotlight on Nature stamp set, or die set. And then I used the brand new eyelet, or this one is not new, the eyelet embossing 3D folder. So I die cut it out, and then I embossed it, so it could kind of look like kind of some fancy frosting on it. So, and let's get our pieces out here. I punched out some balloons, a piece of cake, a banner, a little oval. And this one's from the frame die set. And then I used a happy birthday from our ephemera pack. Okay, so those are kind of the pieces that we're going to use. This one has no stamping with it. It is, again, the regular card base at 5.5 by 8.5. And scored at 4 1/4, which I'm just going to fold and burnish on that score line. And then this one is my 1 1/4 score line. So I'm going to fold and burnish on that one. And then I have scored it 1 1/4 right up to my score line. And I'm just going to cut those in. And I am cutting right on my score lines. And this is the mechanism piece that is going to make our flap flip, if you will. Okay. And this pattern was actually, I went to a class with my downline, Marielle, and she taught us how to do this card pattern. And I really liked it, so I'm sharing it with you guys. And we're going to start off again. This is 5 1/4 by 1 1/4. And I actually am going to use this side because in my sample I used this one. So we'll kind of switch it up. There were some gals at class that actually did use this one. You know, I thought it was really pretty. Sometimes that's the hardest part of making a card, is just kind of deciding which side of the designer series paper you want to use, because it is gorgeous on both sides. And then I'm going to layer this up. So I'm going to put my ephemera sentiment. And if you guys haven't tried those ephemera packs yet, oh my gosh, we have so many of them. And you have just the right sentiment in all of them. So I encourage you to buy a couple of packs of those. I did a Christmas one, which is perfect with the Memories and More cards. This one is, I believe, all occasions. I'm just going to center that in the middle. And then I'm also going to put my balloon in here. And this one kind of looks like it's for a girl just because it's pink. But I think you could easily use it for a boy. And just put a blue balloon in there if you wanted to. Just kind of flowery for a boy, but I think we could make it work if we needed to. So I'm just going to put that kind of like that in there. Boy, I seem to get that. Let's see if I can. Let's pop that up a bit. There we go. Okay, so that's the inside of our card. And then we're going to take our flip flap, which is going to be our circle piece, but let's put this piece on first. And again, this piece is 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. And normally when you do a card and you have that top layer on it, that top layer is going to be 4 by 5 1/4. So by keeping this 2 3/4 and 1 3/4, you've got there 4 inches. So it's going to give you that same look that you would get when you layer designer series paper or cardstock onto your card base. Okay, and then I'm going to take this, and again, I don't want to be tempted to close my card here, so I'm not going to put my adhesive right on my flap that makes my card flip. I kind of like this flip flap, right? Kind of like a flim flam. All right, so I'm going to center that in the middle again. Okay, and I'm going to put my, I did a little piece of a banner piece there. And I'm going to put that right at the top here. And I am going to trim it. I left my piece a little bit long because I didn't want to leave it too short. And I wanted to be able to cut it right around my circle. There we go. And again, this is from the Spotlight on Nature, Spotlight on Nature dies. I think I'm going to pop up my cake. And you guys are going to have to tell me in the comments. Again, I'm not going to put my adhesive over here because I do not want to close my card. So leave me a comment below and let me know which one of these you like best, which one of the backgrounds. I have cut my dimensionals in half here, but I'm going to give them another little half cut because I kind of want, this is like a long skinny piece here for my candle. There we go. So it's going to go behind my candle there. And let's pop this one up. So this one is the flowered background. And the one I did as my sample for class is that beautiful checked background. I kind of like that flowered one. Oh boy. I don't want to do that because I'm going to take that one off. I don't want anything outside this flap to be stuck down because then my flap won't flip. So we're just going to get that dimensional off there and all that sticky. When you have really hot hands, it kind of melts that adhesive and peels it off. You can also breathe heavily onto it, and the heat from your breath will loosen it up. So if you get your my brain is just not finding the word right. If you stick it where you don't want it to be stuck, you can always peel it off with a little bit of warmth. You can use your heat tool, you can breathe heavily on it. Again, my fingers are nice and warm, toasty warm, so they do the trick there. And again, I don't care for this. So I'm going to cover that up, and I've taken another piece of another die cut from the Spotlight on Nature dies. I'm going to put adhesive all over it, and it will also act to keep my flip flap a little sturdier, and it will hide that. I cut 1 inch off this die after I cut it. So I cut 1 inch off it, and that's just going to hold just like that. So that is our second flip flap card. And so let me know in the comments which one you like best. Are you a gingham or are you a flower gal? Okay. And then our next one, we're going to use some new products with. I'm going to move some of this stuff out of my way so I don't confuse myself any more than I'm already confused this morning. I hate waking up and feeling sick. I had so many things planned at such and such a time, and so now I'm just like scrambling to cancel plans, and you know how this story goes, right? Everybody's woken up sick and they haven't planned on it, so it happens. So we're going to use some new products, and they are the Friendly Foliage dies, which are these, and then the Friendly Foliage stamp set. So I love flowers. Those guys, if you know me well, you know I have a huge garden on our deck every year. I just love flowers and herbs and vegetables. So this was kind of one of the things that I had to have. It has some great sentiments. Forget well, you're on my mind and in my heart, thinking of you. Just lots of really great sentiments to it, as well as these dies. Now they have what we call a layering die. So you're going to get a chance to see how that works. And you can use this die. Here is the stamp. Let me see if I put it on this paper, if you can get a better look at it. Okay, so it has maybe a little bit better. So it has its flowers or stems maybe with leaves on them. And then you have this die that will cut them out. So it can layer right on there and cut them out. Or you have this die, which will cut the outer piece out. If you notice, there's kind of a line around that die. So we're actually going to use these to layer up like this. And it will cut both pieces. So when it cuts both pieces, you're going to get like this really gorgeous frame. Get all of our pieces up for this one. So you get this really gorgeous frame, and you can see that's the inside part of the die, and then the outside that gives you that frame and the edges. It's just so pretty. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And we have, we're going to be using some Perennial Lavender Designer Series paper. And this paper is just gorgeous. It has this kind of crumb cake, buffalo check plaid, whatever you want to call it. And lavender is one of my favorite flowers. I have a huge lavender plant growing in my yoga room that is just, the whole room smells. It's like, sometimes I just go in there and sit. So it has some of this one, which has lots of different greens in it, lots of really different beautiful papers in here. And purple is one of my favorite colors too, so it's just really pretty. And they have some of them that just kind of like have like a good scrapbook kind of page, or this would make a great bag, and you just turn the top of it over, which I think is just gorgeous. So lots of versatility with this pack of paper. And it is still available, hasn't moved to our last chance list yet, so you want to be sure and check that out. And we have our 5.5 by 8.5 piece of cardstock. This is Highland Heather, scored at 4 1/4. We're just going to fold and burnish, and then scored again at 1 1/4. We're going to fold that back and burnish it. Okay, and then we have again scored this at 1 1/4 up to our score line. So it's scored at 1 1/4 up to our 1 1/4 score line, and we're just going to cut those pieces off. So 1 1/4 is like your magic number with this. There we go. And I'm going to start off with my piece of white cardstock. Oh boy, I got that stuck right on there. My little accessory gem came off its backing and is kind of just hanging out here. Let's get it back on here where it belongs, because otherwise it will close my card up, and I don't want that. There we go. Okay, so let's start this again, and we'll just add some adhesive and put this down. My designer series paper will overlap this a little bit, so that is why I'm starting with my piece of basic white cardstock first, because I want you to be able to see all of this 1 1/4 piece of designer series paper, so I want it on top. There we go. And now I have this designer series paper, which I think is just really gorgeous. You can see it has kind of like a watermark background to it, but it's kind of thin, and so I'm going to go ahead and layer it right on top of this piece of Highland Heather paper. And these again are 3 by 4, and I did not leave a border or anything around it. You could if you wanted to, but I just wanted to put it on there just to add a little, make this piece of designer series paper a little more sturdy. Okay, so then we have our 2 3/4 by 5 1/4 piece of cardstock, and I'm just gonna layer that right on there. I'm gonna be careful to just kind of line it up there. And you can see again, I followed the pattern so that it'll all kind of line up and look like a little seamless match there. And I'm going to make sure my little flap is folded good. Put my adhesive right on there so I'm not tempted to adhere this whole piece and close up my card. Just going to center that. go. And then I'm going to put my Stampin' my words on this piece. And I'm going to use Thinking of You, which is also from that same stamp set. And I'm going to, this die comes from the Textured Notes die set, which is full of all different size rectangles. So I'm going to use that one, and then I stamped my my image already. So I just took this image, and when I inked it, I left it this side up and inked it because it is kind of a bigger stamp. The black is obviously bigger, so it was easier to handle if I inked it up this way. So we're going to bring in our little mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine here, and open it up. I'm going to grab some washi tape. You can use Post-it tape, but I moved mine, so it's not here, but you can use Post-it tape if you want to. So what you're going to do is, if I can move this out of the way until I show you how I did this. I had set this die down and got it exactly where I wanted it. And I know where I want it because I want to be able to see the outline, that straight outline, because that's what's going to make our frame. And I want it to cover all of the little flowers or ferns or leaves or whatever you want to call them. Let's get our washi tape going here. Okay. What a day. You guys know I'm going to take a nap after this, right? A little more cold medicine, and oh, great. Okay, let's just try a different one. Oh, boy. I have not had a cold in a very long time. I thought maybe it was my sinuses, and it still might be, but okay, so let's get this lined back up again. And I like to do as little work as possible. So I'm going to cut both of mine at the same time. You can obviously do it in 2 steps if you want to. I don't really want to, so I'm going to put this one on and line it right up. You can see, when you can see that white, you know that it's not lined up. You want to be able to see all of that gorgeous Heather Highland ink that we stamped it in. And you also want to be able to see your frame. Okay, and you might want to stand up to do that if you think it's easier for you. I think I am going to. I'll stand up and get the same bird's eye view that you guys have, right? And it doesn't have to be perfect, okay? So there you can see, let's get it up, how it's just kind of lined up all the way around where my sentiment is, okay? And then I'm going to bring in my little plates. And with these plates, on your mini machine, you want them staggered. So you want them staggered so that it looks kind of like the letter E. Okay? So I'm going to do my white plate, my clear plate, my die, and another clear plate on top. So that's going to be my sandwich as it's going to go through the mini cut and emboss machine. I'm just going to put my hand here for a little added extra stability. And I love that this folds up and I can just move it right out of the way. It doesn't take as much storage space up that way. Okay, so let's see how I did. That's always the trick, right? And you can, we do have some flower dies that do this, that are kind of layering dies. And I store mine like I did here, so that they're lined up together, one inside the other, and have that tape on them, and that's how I put them right in my storage case. So if that's how you're going to use them, you may want to store them that way so you don't have to continually line them up. So see how it looks? You've got that nice frame around it, which kind of makes it bold and kind of pops it up a little bit. And I'm going to put it on some dimensionals, but I want some mini dimensionals. And these are the ones that I always have at my desk, are the mini dimensionals from Paper Pumpkins and Kits. So they're a little bit thicker than our regular dimensionals. But again, I am cutting mine in half, and I'm going to put them on here right behind where some of those big flowers are. And you can use take your pick tool to pop these off here, whatever makes it easier for you while you're crafting. And I'm sure you have a couple little tips and tricks that work good for you, that you kind of are your go-tos. So if so, pop them down in the comments and share them with all of us. We all love learning from one another, so be sure to share often and freely, right? We all like those little tips and tricks that make our crafting experience a little easier. Okay, I think I need to get some up here, right in these corners. Go that way with it. Okay. I think I have just about enough halves, dimensional halves on everywhere here. And I'm safe putting my adhesive all the way around this one because I'm going to mount it on top of this piece here. So I'm not worried about letting my card being able to close. Okay, so let's take these backs off. And it's funny, you guys, when I like a color, I always have my tongue between my lips, and now I kind of am like holding my breath, getting these off here. And I have seen a lot of people that just take your pick tool and just pop that back right off, but I think it works like this, so I'm good with that. And I'm going to put it kind of down towards this edge a little bit, down towards the bottom a little bit. Oh, that is not even close to straight. Let's see if I can. Okay, and that little guy is. Excuse me, I have to lift it up to, I guess I could stand up and look down on it, but I think that's a little bit more straight now. All right, so let's see. I do have a glue dot. My little bow is already made for me. Some of my customers don't like tying bows, so I usually will tie the bows and just pop them out there for them. You get a tied bow in their kit. It's like a little bonus bow, right? So I'm just going to trim these up on my edges so they're kind of a little, so you guys get the idea with the Fun Fold class that, ooh, that one's still a little long. We're going to take it and we're going to make it look different by using different stamp sets. Same card pattern, just different stamp sets, different colors. I'm going to put it right about there. Different accessories. Let's see, I'm going to go, what did I do in here? I think I'm going to go outside because my accessories are purple, so I don't really want to put them on that purple. So I'm going to kind of go like out here, up to a medium and a little. And then I'll do a little one. That one just keeps wanting to fall off the adhesive backing. I'm going to do a little one down here. There we go. Okay. And again, I am going to cover up this spot back here because I just like a really smooth, kind of clean line finish to my cards. I don't like to be able to see where one spot ends and one spot starts. So I'm just going to put this on here, and I'm going to line it up in here because I know I need just a little bit of kind of wiggle room, if you will, there, so that my card will still close. Okay, and that one needs to be trimmed just a tiny bit there. So I'm just going to bring my snips in and cut that part off. And again, if you don't mind that kind of look on the back of your card, people really are not going to see that. So this piece, this added piece isn't, you know, terribly necessary. If it doesn't bother you, I wouldn't worry about having this piece on there. Okay, so that's it. This is our Flip Flap Fun Fold Frenzy class. And again, this one is our new stamp set with our builder die. Forever Foliage, I think it was. Let's see. Friendly Foliage. And then this one is our Memories and More holiday card. And then this one, this is the one you guys have to vote on. Let me know which one you like best. So thanks for tuning in, you guys, and I hope you have a wonderful Wednesday. Bye-bye.